Good afternoon. Welcome to today's session on DynaMed, decision support with DynaMed on EPOC. My name is Rachel Lowe, and I'm the EPOC trainer. Please note that your microphone has been automatically muted. If you have any questions or comments as we're going along, please feel free to hit the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen or go ahead and type your message into the chat box. Please don't feel like you need to wait until the end of the session to ask any questions. If anything comes up for you as we're going along, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. A bit later on this afternoon, you will be receiving an email with a link to a recording of today's session, a copy of the PowerPoint slides, and a link to an online evaluation. The online evaluation only takes a couple of minutes to complete, and if you're able to take the time to do so, we do appreciate it. We do read through each one carefully, and we use them to structure future training sessions. So as I mentioned, I'm Rachel Lowe, and I'm the EPOC trainer. My background is in midwifery, education, and library and information studies, and I am a registered midwife. So when we talk about evidence-based medicine, we look at the evidence based on literature. We look at the clinical experience of clinicians, and we look at the expectations of the patient. To ensure confidence in practice, you need the best available evidence combined with clinical expertise that complements and clarifies the evidence. Either of these things alone is not enough, and DynaMed is the perfect combination of both the best available evidence and clinical expertise. So DynaMed has been created by an extensive team of physicians who are experts in their field. They select the best and most appropriate evidence, confirm the clinical applicability of content, and they peer review the topics. So there's over 125 physicians and scientists on staff, and more than 450 physicians around the world who write and peer review the content on DynaMed. DynaMed works on an evidence-based methodology. So the evidence is identified, the best evidence is selected, it's critically appraised, it's objectively reported, the evidence is synthesized, conclusions are reported and recommendations are made, and then those conclusions are adjusted whenever new evidence is published. So this is a quote from quite some time ago. So in asking the question, how many journal articles have you read in the past week or today? It was estimated back in 1995 in the BMJ, the British Medical Journal, that to keep up, the dedicated clinician would need to read about 17 articles a day. So of course, how is a clinician able to keep up with the latest evidence? Research databases are great tools, and of course you can go in and search for topics that you're interested in, and you can read some of the latest studies and the latest evidence on conditions and procedures. Or you can also turn to resources like DynaMed. Now, DynaMed is what we refer to as a decision support tool or a point of care tool. So it's a little bit different to a research database. Rather than being a repository of articles and other publications that you can read, in DynaMed, the team of physicians and researchers that we've already talked about have put together information in topics. And so you're able to read about a certain topic instead of going into a research database and reading 10 articles on atrial fibrillation, for example. You can find the topic atrial fibrillation, and you can read through where the latest evidence has been curated and collated for you. So using the example of this topic of atrial fibrillation, there is a standard structure for all the condition topics. And as you can see, you start with overview and recommendations. You've got some subtopics there. You go through general information, epidemiology, etiology and pathogenesis, and so on. There are overviews and recommendations. Now, DynaMed uses the grade system for recommendations and a proprietary system for evaluating the strength of the evidence. So they make strong or weak recommendations, and the evidence is graded as being high, moderate, or low, or evidence lacking clinical outcomes. And you can see throughout each topic, in the example here, again on the topic atrial fibrillation, you will see that throughout, DynaMed includes strong and weak recommendations, and clicking on those links provides levels of evidence and guidelines behind each recommendation. And you will see that DynaMed provides easy to interpret levels of evidence labels. And there are also global evidence sources. You will see that there are global guidelines, and very shortly we'll hop into DynaMed and we'll have a look at these things. So you can jump right into your specialty from the home page, and that will give you easy access to the content that matters most to you. There are graphics and images that offer fast answers to clinical questions with visual prompts. And when you select an image, it provides users with a larger view and additional context. So as you can see, you can browse specialties and content is updated daily. You can also create a personalized experience. So right from the homepage, DynaMed gets you to the information that matters most to you. And you can see that that's highlighted there. So there is a CME credit tracker. CME stands for Continuing Medical Education. And once you have signed into DynaMed, it actually tracks the amount of time that you use on the resource, and you are able to generate a certificate to document the time that you've spent. You can dive right into recently viewed topics. You can access a running list of the topics that you are following. And you can see updates on topics that you are following. This is what the CME page looks like, or the Continuing Medical Education. And so it shows the amount of time that you spend in various topics. There is also a mobile app with DynaMed, which you can find in your App Store or Play Store, depending on the type of mobile device that you use. And it's got a very responsive design. So it's very easy to read, whether you're on a phone or a tablet. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into DynaMed. I'm just going to switch to my Chrome browser. So as you can see, I'm on the Epoch landing page here, and you will see DynaMed here under Quick Links. So I'll go ahead and click into it, and it will open in a new window. Now, because I'm already signed into Epoch, it uses Open Athens, and DynaMed will recognize me. And I do apologize, it's taking a bit longer than it normally does. Normally, we are straight in. Okay, so you can see, as I mentioned, because I was logged into Epoch, Open Athens will automatically log me into DynaMed as well. So it recognizes me. I can access my CME there, Continuing Medical Education, or from here as well. So this is the DynaMed landing page. As you can see, you've got the Continuing Education tile here. Below that, you have announcements. But the main part of the page shows recent alerts. So you are invited to follow your specialty, which you can also manage. So if I click on Follow My Specialty, I'm able to follow the specialties that I'm the most interested in. So I'm currently following neonatology, neurology, and obesity. So I'll just click on the DynaMed logo here, and that will take me back to the landing page. So right now, I'm looking at the recent alerts for topics that I follow. That's what it defaults to. But if I want recent alerts for all topics, I can click on all topics. So as you can see, these are very recent. These are from Saturday, the 12th of August. Today is Monday, the 14th. Now you have the option when you're following all topics to look at all the recent alerts, or you can look at only potentially practice changing alerts if you wish. But let's go ahead and look at all alerts. As you can see, each alert has been categorized. So for example, these first three are alerts to updates on guideline summaries. There's also evidence alerts. This is a potentially practice-changing alert, and it is a drug or device alert. So sometimes you'll see outbreak alerts and different things like that. Now you will notice for each alert, it tells you the topic that you can view it in, and that is blue hyperlink text. So if I were particularly interested in this alert, I could jump into the topic systemic therapy for cancer in older adults, and it will show me where that alert is. I can click on I can click on alerts for the specialties that I'm following. And you can see those there. And again, it works the same way. And you can jump into the topic that you're following. So there's a number of ways to search for information on DynaMed. You can use the search bar here, and we'll go ahead and do that to start with. I'm going to go ahead and type in measles. As you can see, as I'm starting to type in, a number of suggestions pop up. So these are topics. You can see there's a topic titled measles, there's a topic titled measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, and so on. Or you can do a general search for measles. Firstly, I'm going to jump into the topic titled measles. And this is the condition topic, measles. So as you can see, it defaults to the topic. You can go ahead and look at the updates for this topic. You can see there was an update in May, there was an update in March, and so on. And it tells you, again, the type of update it is. It's in the same format as what we saw on the home page. So it tells you the category and the date, and so on. You can also look at the images associated with this topic. If there are any tables associated, you can find them there. And the about information talks about the editors. But let's go back to the topic itself. You will notice there are 4 icons here. If ever you're not sure what an icon means, just hover over it and it will tell you. I can click here to follow this topic. When I do that, you see this pop-up window. So it says, get alerts when there are significant updates to this content. Now you can elect to have email alerts. You can elect to have only potentially practice-changing email alerts, or you can elect to have no email, please just show me alerts on the home page. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm now following the topic measles. You can cite information you find on DynaMed. And if you click on cite, you can copy that citation to your clipboard. You can print the information that you find, and I really like the way this is laid out. So as you can see, you can print the entire topic, including all the headings and subheadings, or you can elect just to print a small part of it. Let's say you only want to know about immunization, or you're only interested in prevention and screening. So you can select whatever section that you're interested in and click on print. You also have the option to share. If you click on that, it will open your email client. All right, so let's have a look at the condition measles. And this is the order of headings that we saw on the PowerPoint. So as you can see, it always starts with overview and recommendations, then related topics, and so on. And you will notice that throughout the text here, there's a lot of blue hyperlink text. So you can jump to those sections, or it will give you more information. For example, when I click on that, it takes me to the section on it. So it goes through the different sections. One of the things I really like about DynaMed is towards the end, there is always a guidelines and resources section. And when I click on this, it goes through international guidelines, the guidelines of various countries. As you can see, there's the US, there's the United Kingdom, there's European guidelines, there's Australia, New Zealand guidelines. Following that, you will have a number of review articles. Again, blue hyperlink text, so you can jump into that. And then you have some additional resources. You have a section on Medline search, so you can jump directly into a Medline search from there as well. Following the guidelines and resources section, you have a patient information section. And these have handouts that you can print and give to patients, or you can use to create your own handout. And it tells you whereabouts it comes from. So there's a number here from the Centers for Disease and Control Prevention. There's a handout from Patient UK, and so on. So you know exactly where that handout is coming from. And then, of course, you have your references section. And it does go into the recommendation grading systems used because, of course, as you would know, different organizations use different grading systems. Some organizations use strong evidence, weak evidence, some use level 1, level 2, some use category 1, some use grade A, grade B, and so on. So it goes through the different organizations and how their evidence works, and then also the synthesized recommendation grading system for DynaMed. So it goes right into those details of how those conclusions are come to. Bit of information on the editorial process and some special acknowledgements. So that's what the topics look like. But let's go ahead and jump back to the landing page. So as we saw, as I started to type in measles, we had a number of topics here. Or you can just search the term measles. Now, if you just search the term measles, as you can see at the top of our list is the condition topic on measles, and that's the condition topic we were just looking at. However, there's also a lab monograph on how you measure the measles antibody level. There's a drug monograph on the measles virus vaccine live, and so on. There's a condition topic on rubella, which is sometimes called German measles, and so on. You can filter your results, as you can see on the left-hand side. Some of these results are approach to patients, some are condition topics, some are drug monographs, and so on. Now you can also search for images on measles. And as you can see, there are a number here. You can click on more results. And it will tell you, you can see this is all blue hyperlink text, so it will take you to that topic. So you can go into measles rash, and that is in the rash in children differential diagnosis topic, or you can go into the measles topic, and so on. And if you click on those 3 dots, you can see, for example, this photo here, you can view it in the measles topic, you can view it in dermatologic diagnosis approach to patient topic. So it will give you related topics that you can find more information in. All right, let's jump back to our home page. Now you can also search for information under specialties. So let's go into specialties. And let's say I want to look at neonatology, and it gives you some subtopics. Let's say I'm interested in infectious diseases, congenital infections, and let's say congenital rubella syndrome is something I'm interested in. So this takes us into a condition topic. As you can see, they're all laid out the same way. It goes through the different topics. Now, you can scroll down, and if you want to go to the next section, you can scroll across that way, or you can select. As you can see, again, blue hyperlink text throughout. If I click on, for example, fetal ultrasound, it will take me directly to that section. You can see there are references here. If you hover over the little number, it will give you some more information. And here it's sending me to a diagnostic cohort study. If I click on that, it takes me to where I can find an abstract or a full text. Okay, so you can search for information on DynaMed using the search bar, or you can search using specialties. So we'll just talk a little bit more about alerts. As we've already seen on the home page here, there is a section on recent alerts. If you scroll down, you can click there, or you can go into the alerts section. And so here are all the alerts, and you can choose how you want to filter that. So let's say I just want to look at alerts on, let's say, sleep medicine, and it will take me into those. And again, you've got the type of alert it is, when the alert was put into the system, a little summary on it with a reference, and then of course, blue hyperlink text, you've got your condition topics. So you can go directly into any of those. So let's say we want to look at narcolepsy, for example, and it will take me into that condition topic, and it will take me directly to where that alert is in that topic. All right, we can also look at the drugs A to Z section, and this is powered by Merative Micromedics. So as you scroll down, you can see there's a number of drugs listed there. You can look for drugs by the first letter, or you can search. So let's say we want to look at, let's just pick a letter, and let's go ahead, let's look at heparin. As you can see, this is a drug monograph, and you will notice that the drug monographs are all laid out the same way as well. So it tells us that this drug can be given by injection or intravenously. And here are your headings. Starts off with dosing administration, starts with adult dosing, and as you scroll down, it goes through the various reasons you'd give it. And then there's also pediatric dosing. There's a section on medication safety with contraindications and precautions and so on. It goes into drug class. It goes into the mechanism of action. It goes into the pharmacokinetics of the drug. There's a section on patient education. So things that you do need to make sure your patients are aware of if they're taking heparin. There's a toxicology section. A section about the drug, how it's supplied. And there are also brands. And as you can see, it goes through a number of countries, including Australia. All right, we'll look at the drug interaction section now, and this is probably one of the most popular sections of DynaMed. Now, you will find in the drug interactions section, you can enter as many drugs as you like. There's not a limit on that. And one of the really nice things about it is it does recognize complementary and alternative drugs. So if you have a patient come in and they tell you they're taking, let's say they're taking a lot of ginger oil and they're taking St. John's wort and they're taking, let's say they're taking heparin, and let's say they're taking aspirin. It's a very odd combination, but let's just say this is hypothetically what you're being told. So it does default to drug-drug interactions. You can also look at how these drugs interact with alcohol, how they interact with food, how they interact with lab or pathology results, also drug lactation, so breastfeeding, or how these drugs affect pregnancy. So you can choose any of those. As I mentioned, it defaults to drug-drug, but you can pick any of these. So we want to look at how these drugs interact with lab results or pathology results. So there's a severity index there, and it talks about those ratings. And you can always go into more information. So if you click on See Details, it will go right into what the interaction is, including references. Now, the final section I'm going to comment on is the calculators section. So as you can see, there's a number of subheadings here. So you can look at medical equations, clinical criteria, decision trees, statistics calculators, and so on. So there's all kinds of calculations here, things like absolute lymphocyte count, and so on. Allowable blood loss, burn injury, fluid resuscitation. You can go into clinical criteria. So for example, cardiac risk for orthopedic surgery. There are decision trees. So for example, ectopic pregnancy risk estimation tree calc. So you would need to go in and select and so on. You've also got statistics calculator, so you can work out how to calculate confidence intervals or false negative rates. There's unit and dose converters. You can search by specialty. So let's go, for example, into oncology. And you have calculations that are appropriate to oncology. For example, breast cancer recurrence risk after mastectomy. There's also a basic math calculator and a glossary. And then you've got your references as well. So let's go back to DynaMed. And again, if I click on my CME, as I mentioned, once you're signed in, it will track whenever you spend significant time on a particular topic. All right, does anybody have any questions? Well, I hope you found that useful today. This has been a brief overview of DynaMed. DynaMed is a fantastic resource that you could spend a lot of time looking at. There's a lot of great information on there. As I mentioned, you will be receiving an email from me a bit later this afternoon with a link to a recording of today's session, a copy of the PowerPoint slides, and a link to an online evaluation. If you have any questions, my contact details are on the screen in front of you, or of course you will have my email address via the email I send you this afternoon. Thank you so much for attending.